Thank you. Very interesting information indeed. We certainly rely upon international experience quite a lot. Financial literacy is relevant not only to the emerging economies, it's just as relevant for the developed economies. Children begin to learn about the financial system very early in their lives. Uh, it is relevant for Russia. Uh, Many people have very high expectations for the government to provide for them. We know about it. People don't want to assume responsibility. They're not prepared to take risks. Alexei talked about taxes. He has worked for the tax agency in the past. That explains it. One important point is insurance products are still not well developed in Russia. Look at middle class in Russia. Look at how many insurance products an average person in middle class uses. Compare that to the situation in the U.S., and you will immediately see how little there is. Liability insurance for drivers, that's another interesting thing. It all has to do with people's expectations. We joined WTO. One important service market is insurance market. Western insurance companies are going to come to Russia and they will bring in their products. We should teach our people to be ready to use those instruments. This would probably help to change people's attitude, reduce people's reliance upon the government. Now, I want to pass the floor to Salavat Gabdrakhmanov. He is a lead economist. He is also a coordinator for a financial literacy course for Russian students. Salavat will tell us about the experience that has been accumulated at the School of Economics. I will talk about our course, which we have just completed. We do not have many practical results yet because we just started using it. We are part of a big project by the Ministry of Finance with support of Citibank, with support of the World Bank. This is a increased financial literacy project. So we are involved in development of training programs for the young people and university students. We did this together with the Russian School of Economics. Many people before me talked about the general context already. The level of financial literacy in Russia is rather low. This is a typical situation. Many problems we are facing are similar to what we see in other parts of the world. As of things unique for Russia, we can say that people do not have much trust for financial organizations. It's way below average for the rest of the world. And also people have very high expectations for the government, which they assume would step in if they're to lose money. One interesting study showed that some of the results were counterintuitive. The young people, according to that survey, have even higher expectations for the government. assuming that if we go into a hard period, the government would start playing a bigger role, whereas it would be natural to assume the opposite. The purpose of our course is in front of you. We wanted to explain what financial literacy is. There are many definitions. There's an OECD definition, there's a US organization, and many different definitions derived in different countries. We want to increase financial literacy of the students in the everyday situations which are relevant to them, and also which will become relevant to them shortly. University students are at crossroads. They are at the point in their lives when they soon are going to be on their own. There were a few assumptions which we used as a foundation to develop this course. We split the big job into three parts. First, we looked at various competences that have been developed in different parts of the world. We looked at various real-life situations that students find themselves in, and we looked at the international experience. In real-life situations part, we asked students what problems were relevant to them, what they thought was important for them, and what they expected to become a problem for them. We also asked them where they thought they would need additional knowledge to cope with possible problems. In the sphere of international experience, we looked at what learning programs were already out there for the young people and how they could be helpful for us. In this chart, you can see some things that have to do with the international experience. First of all, this is offerings by international organizations, publications that have been released by OECD. There are other materials by the European Commission. Here you also see the main principles. They are found in all these documents. Also, we analyzed national strategies which set frameworks for the competences. We looked at the experience accumulated in the US, New Zealand, and a bunch of other countries. Here are some of the learning programs that we have reviewed. Should you be interested, you can check them out later. Now, analysis of real-life situations. We did a number of interviews. We did not try to determine the level of financial literacy. We had a different task. We wanted to understand what students thought was important and necessary for them. We interviewed 76 university students. We used Skype to get in touch with students in several cities. We asked the same sets of questions, but we also let students lead us away from the initial line of conversation, and we allowed them to talk. So we have seen several behavior templates amongst our respondents. You can see what we ended up with. There was some homeboys, some beginners, some reckless students, those who were really feeling independent and those who we defined as experienced. Um, People who were more independent were interested in longer-term things. Many students want to know about starting their own business. We thought that this was an important input, and we included that in one of our courses. In the interview, we asked students about experience in financial sphere. We asked them if they think that it makes sense for them to share this information. We asked students if they have ever opened a bank account. About 50% of them have. No, actually more than 50% of them have open bank accounts. We asked them if we should provide information on that in a course, and the opinion split 50-50. Using payment cards, fewer respondents had an experience with payment cards, and fewer people wanted to be taught about that in a training program. Consumer loans and educational loans. Very few people have ever come close to using loans for education, and a lot of people wanted to learn about that. Some things that we added to our curricula. We have come to the conclusion that these would be the main subjects that we should address: budget building, savings and investment, debt management, insurance, and protection against fraud. Additional issues to be addressed included banking, pension savings, and a couple of other things. Now, here are the training programs, training courses that we developed. First, we did a module for bachelors. We did one for masters. We did an optional course, and we offered a block of additional workshop and training programs. We thought that our bachelor's and our master's program had a lot in common. Those who were getting master's degree may not have taken that course when they were at the bachelor's level. But for bachelors, we provide basic knowledge. For masters, we provide a little more on top of what bachelors are going to get. There are more advanced programs for the optional blocks. We offer a lot more specifically Russian information. In that format, we have more time for classes, and we can give more information. Additional workshop and training programs give people an opportunity to refresh their knowledge. It's also available to the students who dropped out of the program for some reason. This is what we offer to bachelors, to masters, and to other categories. You see the total number of classes, the amount of time for self-study. You see the total numbers of hours at the bottom. The learning results, again at bachelor's and master's levels. You can see the difference between what we are trying to get at bachelor's level and master's level. In decision making, we only look at the general approaches, looking at costs and benefits, looking at risks and time. At a higher level, we also talk about various behavioral models, about rational decision making, about the issues that may act as barriers on the way of acting rationally. Optional classes have more complex structure. There we have two blocks with variations, and they're both optional. First, every student takes one block of classes. Then there's an option to go for one of the two options. Both would go beyond standard recipes that a student would get at a bachelor's level, for example. Here we threw in quite a lot of Russian-specific information of fairly practical nature. A pilot should give us an ability to see how how effective this course would work. We try to measure the quality of learning, the quality of outcomes. This is essentially all I have, and thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you, Salavat.